What the haters talking about?
What's up, family? Roughly a year ago, one of hip-hop's living legends, Scarface, aka Brad Jordan, aka my partner in rhyme, my bandmate, my homie, my brother, asked the world for a kidney donation on Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. He got it, thanks to his son, Chris Jordan. Fam, you know how something can go down and you know you're witnessing something special? You're part of something special? That's how I felt sitting in the waiting room. A lot of people was tuned in and focused on checking out the versus battle between Fat Joe and Ja Rule. The whole time I'm sitting in the waiting room, I'm thinking, this is big. This is like one of the biggest things that I've ever been a part of. You hear a lot about people donating organs, but to actually know someone on a personal level that is donating an organ and another person who's receiving that organ, and for it to be a son and a father, fam, beautiful. I'm talking beautiful. Let's start with Brad. I seen that man suffer. Last year, when he caught COVID, back I think March, when he caught COVID, Brad was one of the first celebrities to catch COVID. And when he got it, I mean, it tried to take him out, fam. I saw it. I mean, he had pneumonia in both lungs. And when I went to visit him, he was in one of those rooms with glass all around it. And he was just in there by himself, and all the doctors were standing around looking through the glass and talking with the pads and all that stuff like he was some type of experiment or something. But it was heavy, and nobody could come around. The room was totally, what do they call it when they sanitize the rooms and make sure that there's no bacteria, anything could harm him. I forgot what they call it, but in any event, it was something to see. And this was when there wasn't a line but one person to come into the hotel, come into the hospital. And I mean, it was touch and go, heavy. And then over the past year and months, watching his body deteriorate, and he's still trying to fulfill his obligations as a man, as a father, as a husband, even as a bandmate. We started this podcast in the middle of his search for an organ. We started it. We was like, man, let's do it. And there were days that we did the podcast. Y'all can see those of you who've been watching the podcast faithfully. You can see there's some days that he was just on the struggle bus. A bunch of coughing, a bunch of having to get up and walk out. Sometimes even the Mike Epps interview, he was down time. But by the time we started recording, he had to step away because he was going through an episode. And, to see him push through it, he couldn't even drive. Chris had his son who gave him the kidney. Chris was driving him everywhere. And To see the homie go through that, man, it was tough to see him go through that. But it's one of those things where, you just let him know, hey man, I'm with you. But, we don't really get too sentimental, whatever, because that ain't gangster. But, people know when you're riding with them. But let's talk about Chris. Well, I knew Chris was solid already. And all the way from the time that he decided that he was giving up his kidney to his dad, he had no reservations whatsoever. Every time that I spoke to him or it was mentioned or somebody else mentioned it off the cuff, Chris would be like, yep, that's what I'm doing. Yep. Never any type of hesitation whatsoever. And I know that although that wasn't hesitation, it had to be some level of fear because you are going through a life-changing ordeal. Chris ain't never been to the hospital before, 30 years old, ain't never been sick. So for him the first time he have to check into the hospital, he's checking in for a kidney transplant, like voluntarily checking in to give his kidney away. He's not a person who died and they took his organ and gave it to somebody. This is a living donor who consciously made a decision and say, I know it's a life-threatening procedure, but I love my daddy so much, I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this for him. Beautiful, man. Oh, man. Talking about beautiful. When you see something like that, it makes you think a whole lot. Kind of like anytime like you go to a funeral, everybody's thinking when they go to a funeral. And I wonder how many people are gonna show up for me. Or when my time comes, I wonder, will I be ready? Will I have wrapped up all my affairs? Who will be there? Some of us are a little bit more cynical. I don't want this person at my funeral. You know what I'm talking about. But it made me think a lot like that. Like, man, how would that look? If I had to go through something like that, whether it be receiving or giving, how would that look? And who would I be willing to do that for? And who would be willing to do it for me? You think about that. Brad had about 200 fans. And probably other family members and stuff who was trying to give him a kidney. I mean, they calling me, sending me DMs. Hey, tell Brad I got a kidney over here, man. I just want to thank him for the game. I appreciate it. I give him a kidney. I give it to him. And then I just found out just a few weeks before the actual transfer happened, somebody had died and somebody offered to actually give him that kidney. And his son said, nah, give that kidney to somebody else. Give it to somebody else who needs it. I'm gonna give him my kidney. Oh man, damn. Boy, I'm so proud of that boy. I'm so proud of Chris, man. I don't know what to do, and I'm proud of him and Brad. I'm proud of both of them for being able to, to have the courage to get through what they had to go through. A lot of procedures and stuff, for Brad, going through dialysis 3-4 times a week. Man, that shit is emotionally draining, man. Sometimes he'd be okay, just, barely getting through. And sometimes he's going and you be like, oh, I guess he all right. And then, you get reminded, within minutes sometimes that, nah, man, he just going as hard as he can right now while he got this little burst of energy, but it's coming back down. So to see what Brad went through and all of the preparation that took place to get him to that point to where he now has a live, healthy, functioning kidney. To see his son go through all of those tests, all those different days he had to go in and get checked to make sure he was a perfect fit. He had plenty of times where he could have said, "Oh, you know what, man, I don't know if I could do this." That boy never wavered. He stayed stiff. Man, beautiful, man. I'm talking about beautiful. Beautiful to see that. You know, it makes you, really consider, organ donating. And I know that's a touchy topic for black folks because a lot of times they just take what they want. But this is something that really got me thinking heavily about this, man. Y'all drop a comment and tell me what y'all think about organ donations. I mean, especially, when it comes to donating to family, like, what your wishes would be, right? Hey, on behalf of Brad and Chris, thank y'all for all your prayers. I've been reading the comments on social media. I've been reading Chris' Instagram. It's exploding. Chris had like 100, and he said he had 124 followers when he woke up today. And by the time y'all see this, he'll probably be well over, not probably, he'll be well over 10,000 by the time y'all see this. So it's a blessing that people are following him in appreciation for the sacrifice that he made. So that's beautiful to see him getting his flowers for what he did, right? Because our legends are falling off, man, left and right. I mean, we losing them left and right. And, we really can't afford to lose anymore. So that was beautiful. All the people that reached out, whether you offered, to donate, an organ, or money, or offered your empathy, whatever you did, just the prayers, that's good, whatever you did to show support, it's beautiful, man. It's appreciated. It's appreciated 1,000, to people that came to the hospital, it was a very tight circle because, obviously, for obvious reasons, but those people was 10 toes down, yeah, man, it's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see how the hip hop community and the greater just human community rallied behind my man. Beautiful. Y'all do me a favor, go follow Chris Jordan. I know y'all follow a lot of important people, but if you're on Instagram, go to _Chris Jordan, _ I am Chris Jordan. Follow a real one. I mean, he real, and he didn't have to kill nobody. He real, and he gave life. He extended life as opposed to taking life. He built, not destroyed. Follow a real one, fam. One more time. Whatever you did, fam, whatever you did to support Brad, Chris, it's appreciated. We're going to get y'all a new podcast. We got one in the can, and we're going to get y'all, we're going to get Chris on the podcast as soon as he and Brad is up to it. And we're going to try to make that happen ASAP. No more talk.
What the haters talking about?